We're standing by to see Ukrainian leader Volodymyr Zelensky at the White House, there to push President Trump for American-made Tomahawks. These are longer-range missiles that would give Ukraine the ability to hit deep inside of Russia. You can see the range there. It would give them the capability to go way past Moscow into other areas. There have been some signs the president was supportive of that request, but all of a sudden, this has been thrown into doubt after a 2.5-hour phone call with Vladimir Putin that came at the request of the Kremlin. Now the president says he will meet with Putin within weeks. He did say the Tomahawks came up in the phone call.
I did actually say, would you mind if I gave a couple of thousand Tomahawks to your opposition? I did say that to him. I said it just that way. He didn't like the idea. He really didn't like the idea. No, I said it that way. You have to be a little bit lighthearted sometimes, Adam.
Specifically ask you not to provide Tomahawks?
So, wouldn't anybody? I mean, it's been in the news. Who wouldn't do that?
Let's get right to CNN's Elena Treen at the White House with the expectations for today's meeting and this probable meeting with Vladimir Putin.
Yeah, I think the Russians knew exactly what they were doing when they tried to intervene, John, less than 24 hours before this meeting with Volodymyr Zelensky today at the White House. They knew exactly what was likely to be discussed in this meeting between, of course, the President Donald Trump, and Zelensky. And really the goal, I think, of that call was to try and make sure Tomahawks are off the table. Now, it doesn't appear that it is off the table, but I can tell you, John, that I know from my conversations with people at the White House that the president had largely seen the possibility and kind of this floating publicly this idea of providing Kyiv with these long-range American missiles as a threat to try and force the Russians back to the table. Obviously, we saw that phone call take place yesterday, and just on that lengthy phone call, things quickly progressed enough to have the president and President Putin vow to meet in just a couple weeks in Budapest to continue the negotiations. Now, I should say that call with the Russian president came after weeks of the President Donald Trump being, of course, very frustrated with Putin. He was not living up to some of the commitments that the president and other Trump administration officials believe that he had made in that summit just weeks ago in Alaska. But to turn to today's meeting, we do know that, of course, asking for more weapons is going to be on the agenda of the Ukrainians. And really, this meeting comes at a point where we've heard the president and many of his closest advisors here in the White House argue that it might be time to take a more offensive posture toward Russia. Now, did that change because now they're going to be having this summit with Putin? We'll see. I think it's likely to probably expect that they don't want to rock the boat too much as these negotiations are happening. And so we'll have to see what happens today. We'll have to see what the Zelensky asks, of course, and what Trump is willing to provide. But just to go back to the Tomahawks, I think it's important to note what exactly they do, because they would provide Ukraine with the ability to strike targets inside Russia at a long range, something that the Ukrainians haven't been able to do. But part of the reason they're so controversial is because they're American made and largely would likely have to be American operated. And that's exactly what Putin had brought up in his call with Trump yesterday. So a lot to watch for today as we expect Zelensky to arrive later this morning.
Yeah, it's possible Vladimir Putin bought himself another couple weeks, at least, by floating the idea of these face-to-face meetings. Elena Treen at the White House today. We're going to have to watch very, very closely. Thank you.
Joining me now with more is Ukrainian Parliament member Alexei Goncharenko. Thank you so much for being here with us. Really appreciate it. So, as we heard there, President Zelensky hoping to get those Tomahawk missiles from the U.S., but then President Trump spent 2.5 hours on the phone with Vladimir Putin. How did that call change the mood in Ukraine overnight?
Hi, and really, like, the new hope is born, I could say, because we see that President Trump actively involved and he is actively working on establishing peace in Ukraine, and that is great. Now his hands are free after the success in the Middle East, and I hope that this success will lead him to next success, stopping the war in Ukraine. Also, we see that Trump understood what language works with Putin, when now he speaks much more tough about Russia, and when he speaks about possible delivery to Ukraine of Tomahawks, missiles, when he speaks about India stopping buying Russian oil, and India is more than 1/3 of Russian oil export. So it's super important for Russia. All of this really works. And I think all of this made Putin to call to Trump, and all of this made Putin to agree for the new meeting.
Yeah.
And definitely this new meeting will be super important. And I think that if Trump will go out from this meeting without agreement and without Putin agrees to stop the war, that will be humiliation for Trump. So now we have a really new hope.
I'm interested that you say hope, because certainly, I mean, there were some fears expressed that Putin always seems to be able to talk President Trump down from acting. It seems like every time Trump gets tough on Putin, they have a phone call and suddenly he seems to soften. So are you not worried at all that that pattern will mean the Ukraine won't get the weapons you need to turn this war around?
You know, we need to stop the war. We need to end this war as soon as possible. Yeah, the best thing would be just to completely defeat Russia. Unfortunately, for the moment, we are not on the edge of this. So we need to stop this war, and it can't be made without speaking with Putin. So it's clear that Ukraine can't speak with Putin. Putin will not listen to us, and Putin just wants to take Ukraine, not to speak with us. So it's only Trump and Chinese leader, so it's only American leader and Chinese leader who can really make Putin to stop the war. I think that China is not interested in this. So United States of America is our main hope. And that's why, yes, we have concerns. And yes, this meeting can go different ways. But still, it gives us a chance. It gives us a hope. And once again, I think for Trump also understands that if he will meet Putin for the second time in several months without any result of stopping the war, it will be already humiliation of him, Trump, and United States. So I think Trump realizes this, and that gives us hope.
Interesting. You say, you know, you cannot achieve peace without the U.S. talking to Russia. Are you at all worried that this meeting will happen without Ukraine in the room, that these big decisions might be made without Ukrainian input?
I know that today Zelensky is meeting with Trump, so he has an excellent opportunity to explain to President Trump what is acceptable for Ukraine and what is not. Definitely, I would like to see Ukrainian president also to be in this room, but probably it's not possible for the moment. And once again, it is more, when I heard after Alaska summit about possible meeting Putin with Zelensky, I didn't believe in this. First, I didn't believe that this meeting will happen, and as you see, it didn't happen. But also, even if to imagine that this meeting would happen, I don't believe this meeting can be fruitful, because without United States, Russia should not be believed. Without United States, without guarantees of the United States, even if some agreement will be achieved, it will not be respected by Russia. Right. So United States is absolutely essential. So I welcome the efforts of President Trump, and I hope he will continue.
Interesting. We'll see what may come out of that Zelensky-Trump meeting later today. Alexei Goncharenko, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.